Good morning, everybody. It is the 29th of April 2022 as I'm recording this, and I'm happy to report that we are now wrapped on Edge Force 2 Claws of the Dragon. Finalized the edits on those ones last night, did all of the formatting for the ebooks, pre orders now live on Amazon, did all of the layouts for the hardcover and the paperback, which all I need to do now is the covers, the cover design. We've got the cover art from the great Eric Summers, which is fantastic, and now I just need to put the wrap together myself, which hopefully I'm going to finalize today. So yeah, that's it. Claws of the Dragon Edge Force 2 is done. Will be coming out on May the 19th on Kindle, will be live on Kindle Unlimited when it releases, and Bleeding Edge will also be back in Kindle Unlimited. So yeah, this is excuse me, I'm still having my morning coffee as well. Um so I did a bit of an experiment with Claws of the Dragon. Um I originally got my start on Kickstarter back in 2014. Well, actually, I think it was 2013. I launched the campaign. I'll have to check. But my first novel, Metro 7, was it was the first Aussie fiction novel that was successfully funded on Kickstarter when it opened to us here. Which is weird because now it's like Kickstarter. It's just a thing. You can go there and you can put your projects up, and it was always this. It's a thing that you can do now. But that wasn't the case for the first couple of years that Kickstarter existed. I think it was. Oh, I can't even remember what the only platforms were that we could use here in Australia. But as soon as Kickstarter opened, I was just like, nah, I'm going to do it. We'll see how it goes, and it smashed all expectations for Metro 7. Then I went back to Kickstarter to do Carnifex, my second book, which went really well as well. I also went to Kickstarter to do book two. Sorry, I'm waving around a piece of Transformers because I've transformed Cup into this hideous Quetzalcoatlus monstrosity because I always fiddle with things on my desk. Um, where was I? I lost my train of thought. Kickstarter. Yeah, I went back to Kickstarter for Crematoria Online Book 2, but I didn't really think about the funding goal, what was achievable, what the Lit RPG audience wanted, and what I could achieve by going through the platform, because I was just offering it for physical versions of the books. And now that I've been writing in Lit RPG for quite some time, I know that the physical side of things is a minuscule percentage of what the reader base actually want. Most of the time, you're looking at ebooks, Kindle Unlimited, audio. That's really what the Lit RPG audience is looking for. Physicals are really just that kind of nice to have. So running a campaign for a physical Kickstarter, a physical version of a Lit RPG book through Kickstarter for, at the time it was called Legacy of the Blood Reaver, it just didn't go well. So I had a goal of $1,500 that I wanted to be able to make, the postage and all of that viable, but it didn't raise over $1,000 in the time that the campaign was going. So that was a bit of a flop, which bruised the ego, and I'm just like, I'm never going to do another Kickstarter, blah 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 blah. But when Claws of the Dragon was reaching that critical point where I'm just like, oh, I'm going to be looking to be able to launch this pretty soon, I thought to myself, you know what? The future of publishing really is through direct sales and non-exclusive sales. And while yes, 95%, I'm just pulling that number out of my ass really, but the overwhelming majority of people who read Lit RPG are either consumers of it through Kindle Unlimited or through Audible. So I thought, all right, I'm going to take Bleeding Edge out of Kindle Unlimited, and I am going to have a pre-order period of non-exclusive DRM-free versions of the books for about a month, couple of weeks, to see if there's any interest there, and if there's a way that we could drum up some direct sales. I mean, I know Kickstarter's its own platform; it's not entirely direct sales, but it's still non-exclusive. It's still not within Amazon's architecture. So my idea was, we'll do this for a small period, and once that's done, then we can launch in Kindle Unlimited as normal. So it's actually gone a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I thought pulling Bleeding Edge out of Kindle Unlimited would just completely tank and plummet. I mean, it has plummeted page reads because it's not in Kindle Unlimited anymore. But the surprising thing that I've seen is that I've had the largest spike in pure book sales, book sale royalties since the launch of the book, which is very unexpected. So that's something that I'm going to consider going forward. I'm not sure whether it's because Bleeding Edge is it's a bit of a blend between normal lit RPG sensibilities and that kind of fast-paced, addictive, Matthew Riley, James Patterson-esque, action kind of novels. I'm not sure if that's why, or maybe people just are willing to just press that buy now button and take a chance, even 6 months after the books come out, which is really nice to know. So yeah, I guess in summary, the Kickstarter for Claws of the Dragon is live and will be live through May the 15th. So what this means is that if you're reading Claws of the Dragon on either my Patreon or my Royal Road, which is still the raw, unedited version, like you're not going to get the edited version, the final version, unless you read the ebook or the physical books, which is how things will be going forwards for all of my stuff. So if you want to read it, you'll have until probably May 15th or May 16th, depending on dates and times and all of that, to get through that. So that's only a couple of weeks away, just over 2 weeks. So if you do want to read it for free, make sure that you get onto Royal Road and get that done, because I will have to take it down. I'm going to be putting notice on the chapter, a new chapter notice up today, just letting everyone know dates and all of that kind of thing and that. So, but yeah, the Kickstarter's through May 15th. So if you want non-exclusive DRM free versions of the books, which will be in PDF, Mobi, and EPUB, you can back the campaign. It'll be cheaper than buying it straight through Amazon anyway. Obviously, it's not going to be cheaper if you're reading on Kindle Unlimited, but and there's physical swag, so there's going to be Kickstarter exclusive versions of the physical books where I'm going to pop a nice little sticker in there and sign it just to say that this is an exclusive version that came from the Claws of the Dragon Kickstarter. And yeah, we've raised over 200% of the funding that I needed for this one, which was I wanted to raise a minimum 500 to make sure that all of the costs were going to be covered for the printing and the posting and all that, which from Australia is ridiculous, the amount of postage costs. And there's a couple of really nice things that I've been able to do as part of this one that I've never been able to do as part of a Kickstarter campaign. First off, we've got an actual plushie of Kaiser as a puppy that you can buy, which is just super cute. I think I'm going to need to actually buy one of those for myself to chuck on my shelves back there in my... I don't know if you can see it, but I've got all of my books that I've either published or that I'm a part of just up here next to my Jack of the Dust Joker skull. So I think I'm going to put the Kaiser plush. I'll move the D&D stuff and put the Kaiser plush just there when I get it, because it's awesome. No, I'm not going to say that. I don't want to spoil anything. But there's a really, 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 really awesome thing that I was able to do in Claws of the Dragon with Kaiser that just makes me so happy, and I just can't wait to see what the reception for that is going to be. All right, so that's... Oh man, I've been ranting about Claws of the Dragon for 9 minutes. I didn't expect to talk about it for that long. But anyway, lots of stuff. And the great thing about... Let me just talk about it for a little bit longer. The great thing about Claws of the Dragon is if you have a book that you still love even after you have shredded it to pieces and edited it and had to analyze it and all of that, it's kind of a nice feeling at the end of it to just be able to sit back and go, oh man, I really enjoyed that. I've read it like 15 times already and I still enjoy it. It's always just makes the whole thing worth it, all right. Moving on from Claws of the Dragon. Well, yesterday I started a brand new Word document, and it is titled Edge Force 3 Bury the Hatchet Outlining Doc. And I copy pasted in there some concepts for villains that I've been working on for the past month or so for the third book, and it is going to be bananas. It's going to be pretty crazy. Things already started crazy in the first book. They get crazier in the second book, but Bury the Hatchet is going to be another thing entirely. So I'm going to be outlining that, hopefully going to get that finished by the end of next week, quicker if I can. And then I want to get it written as quickly as I can, get it up on Patreon and Royal Road and all that kind of stuff. But yes, I guess all I can confirm about Bury the Hatchet at the moment is that JD Rideout, Hatchet will return, Kaiser will return, supporting cast, undecided, but I'm pretty sure that a very important character from the second book is going to play a very central role in the third book as well. But because it's not out, I'm not going to name drop him or her or them. So you'll have to find out. And leave a comment on here if you think you know who's coming back. But yeah, very excited. I'm going to try and aim for a book that's roughly the same size as the first two in the series as well. Because I really, my whole focus with this is I want them to be fast-paced, addictive reads, but also give them enough depth that they give you what you want. So the first book, I'll just give you a bit of an example. The first book was, I think it was about 93,000 words, about 330 pages or something like that in the physical book. But second book is 107,000 words, which roughly works out to about 390 pages. So it's a bit longer, more content, lots more characters, lots more monsters, lots more action, and hopefully it's going to give you more of the good stuff. And book 3 is probably going to be about the same. So I think it's probably going to be about 390, 400 pages as well, based on what I've got planned so far. So anyway, I just got to get back into my goblin cave and start writing that baby the next week. So, okay, moving on to other stuff. All right, so on my Patreon, I am in desperate need of another sip of coffee. And honestly, these Blizzard mugs with the baddies, you got Illidan and Arthas, and I know Blizzard, Warcraft, not great at the moment, but like, I've been playing World of Warcraft long enough for some of my characters to start high school this year. So I am, unfortunately, I'm stuck. There's no other room for any other MMO in my life. In fact, there's probably not room for that MMO in my life at the moment. But anyway, I digress. Other stuff. Very jazzed about the World of Warcraft expansion. Going back to that same stuff that I just said that we're going to get away to, but I'm not away from. But I'm not going to go into it. On my Patreon, I am doing a Patreon exclusive serial called The Risen and the Wretched. And without giving too much of it away, because it really is, this is a special love letter, like, just to the people who have been around since I launched my Patreon last year. Or maybe, yeah, I think it was last year. But this is for them. This serial is and will be for my patrons for the foreseeable future. At some point, I'm not sure whether it's going to be like late this year, possibly next year, I want to have enough content on there where I can start launching some of that over into Royal Road on a more normalized posting structure, maybe 2 or 3 chapters a week. But at the moment, purely for my patrons, and it's not happening on a set schedule, so I'm just posting stuff as I'm writing it. And this is a kind of a second chance reincarnation story where the main character, who's a family man like myself, there might be a little bit of self-insert here, who knows. There's definitely self-insert. So he's just bought a house, is just moving in, moving all of the stuff into the house, and he picks up a box that's just probably a little bit too heavy, puts a bit too much of a strain on his old ticker, has a heart attack, and dies, surrounded by his family, who love him dearly. As he dies, his soul is captured and is chosen to fight in a conflict of good versus evil. And because of the overwhelming outpouring of love that was felt across the universe at the moment of his death, he's been chosen to fight for the good guys. So there's two factions in this series. There's the Risen and the Wretched. The Risen are chosen because of the good things that they've done in their lives, the positive things that they've done, how many people love them, all of that kind of thing. The Wretched are chosen for a different purpose. They're chosen because of how many people hated them at their death, or the terrible things that they did while they were alive. And on this world that the Risen and the Wretched have been sent to, there's only one way to end this conflict, and that's for one side to completely wipe the other side out in a single cycle. If a single one of them survives, the cycle begins anew. The conflict continues on. And the main character, he arrives, gets a pretty unique class. It's craft beer enthusiast, so he learns how to, like his first class, he learns how to make crude brews, and I don't really want to spoil anything, but he has a very interesting way of solving problems that's not just whacking things with a sword or a shield or whatnot. It's more about trying to work through problems and solve them rather than killing things, which we'll see how that's going to work out in a conflict that's designed to end in bloodshed. But that's basically what the Risen and the Wretched is all about. So if that sounds like your jam, the only way that you're going to be able to get that is if you become a patron on my Patreon, which you can do for as little as, I think it's $1 US or 150 Australian a month. And you'll get access to everything that I've written so far and ongoing chapters for that one as well. Now, what else? What else is there to talk about? I don't think there's much at this stage on the writing front. Just going to keep pottering along with Edge Force and get that done as soon as I can, and keep working on the Risen and the Wretched slowly and give that to my patrons. But that's about it. That's all from me. This was a bit longer than I expected it to, but but here we go. All right. I hope everyone is safe, sane, happy, and healthy out there. And sound off in the comments and let me know what you're up to. I hope everyone's all good. See you later.